We present My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here to introduce the teams is Steve Wraith.
Thank you, and hello again. My Music is a gathering of 5 musically minded friends disguised as a radio panel game. We're paying a visit on this occasion to the Cheltenham International Festival of Music. The 4 contestants being, as ever, John Amis, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Those are the names, and that, by the way, is the question order. John, Frank, Ian and Denis. So John Amis will bat first, which, with his background, is appropriate in this spiritual home of contemporary serious music. Not that our contest is going to be all that serious, I suspect, or all that contemporary. So, John, here is some familiar music. It's played by an orchestra and a conductor, much loved here at the Cheltenham Festival in years gone by, the Halley Orchestra under Sir John Barbarolli. John, we know that as sheep may safely graze, but what did it become in ballet form in the hands of Sir William Walton?
I think it became a few wise virgins.
That's right. The Wise Virgins, ballet suite by Sir William Walton. Right. Yeah. To write music originally, of course, by Bach, J.S. Bach.
You know, sometimes things go wrong with posters. And the other day I saw a poster, a piano recital in London, and it said, "Sheep may safely graze number 2, Beethoven." And so I rang up the concert agent and I said, "Look, I wonder if I could have a copy of that poster for that pianist who was playing on such a date." He said, "Why do you want it?" So I said, "Oh, I'm just thinking of making a collection of posters." He said, "I'll have a look at it first."
Smart man.
I never got it.
No. Well, I know
I arrived at a theatre in Billingham once to sing an opera and was surprised to see it had been renamed The Barber of Saville.
I think I may have told this story before years ago, but it's worth repeating. A listener wrote to tell me that she was once driving through a village in Sussex when she heard the sound of that music, which we just heard by Bach, coming from the village church, obviously a funeral service. So she said to somebody nearby, "I love that music, sheep may safely graze. Whose funeral is it?" And they replied, "Our butcher's." So, we move on. Frank, the subject is still sheep. What has disturbed this flock? I think John is muttering something to you.
Yes, a non-you has appeared. Apparently it's Don Quixote.
Yes.
Don Quixote by Richard Strauss.
Yes, that's right.
And Don Quixote is tilting, do you say?
Well, he thinks that they are... What does he think they are?
Well, he thinks that he doesn't understand that they're sheep. And
he thinks they're windmills, actually, John, doesn't he?
That's it.
He's tilting at these sheep or rushing among them. They have been, in fact, attacked by Don Quixote, or if you still prefer it, Quixote. And you get your mark, Frank. Ian, enough of bleating. This is singing, not to say choral shouting. Ian, what is that somewhat repetitive piece?
You really should have asked John that one, because he pronounces the name of the composer so beautifully.
He does, actually. He did
Yes,
once,
he does.
didn't he, in an earlier series. You tell us the title.
Well, I can only try and give an imitation of John Amos sending himself up when he says it's called Carl Ulf.
Yes, that's right. And the piece is called?
The piece is called Carmina Burana, or Burana.
Yes,
or,
Carmina Burana. Yes.
Medieval poems.
Sort of, yes.
Set to music.
That's right. I have a sort of nightmare that I will be shipwrecked on a desert island, and I'll find a gramophone and a complete crate of records, and when I open them, they'll all be of Carmina Burana. Dennis, your turn. Yours too is a piece for soloists, choir and orchestra of a kind. The plot, I feel, may help you to identify the piece.
There is something to tell you, a story of our time, the tragic but inspiring tale of manhood in its prime. You know you had a dozen sons, well now that's not quite true, but feel no sorrow, do not grieve, he would not want you to.
A dozen sons.
Yes, and I think the singer was Peter Reeves, and it's Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
That's right, by
Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice.
Yes, or if you're a lyric writer, by Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. A dozen sons, now you've lost one of them, is the brothers talking to their father. Yes, that's right. Mark to you. And we move on. John, there's something which was shared by three English musicians of great distinction, Cecil Sharp, Benjamin Britten and Sir Arthur Sullivan. They share this particular distinction with George Eliot, the novelist, Charles de Gaulle, André Gide and Thomas Cook, the travel agent. What is it they share? And I'll give you, if you like, a tiny, tiny hint on the piano. Shall I do that?
You better.
But which birthday?
They were all born on November the 22nd.
Which is?
St. Cecilia's Day.
Absolutely right. Marvellous. Congratulations. Yes. And there's your mark, November the 22nd. Frank.
Hello.
Blessed Cecilia, appear in visions to all musicians, appear and inspire. Whose words for Benjamin Britten?
Everyone's done things, poems and things about St. Cecilia. And
Not that particular poem.
Well, we think...
We think, yeah.
with a little help from my obverse side. It's W.H. Auden.
Yes, W.H. Auden, in Hymn to St. Cecilia, 1942, by Britten. That's right, mark to you. Ian, who wrote an ode for St. Cecilia's Day?
Cyril Fletcher?
Very nice. Possibly an odd one, yes. I had in mind an even one, actually. Dennis can't be writing it down for you.
Yes, he has. Trouble is I can't read his writing. Alexander Pope.
That's crafty. That's the literary Dennis coming
And
to
then
your
there's
aid.
somebody else
Well, you
who wrote...
can't
Yes.
write a musical ode. An ode is a literary form.
Yes.
And then somebody wrote... Da, 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 Cecilia.
You did a Jonathan Edwards there.
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm in
Give me a...
No.
Toss me off a century.
No, Dennis has very...
John
very
Dryden.
Dennis has very, very neatly copped the mark here. Quite right. Words were by Pope, but they were set to music by another gentleman whose name began with P.
Purcell.
Yes, may have been others too, but the famous ode to St. Cecilia's Day by Purcell. Mark to you. Dennis, in Raphael's portrait of her, what is St. Cecilia holding?
Raphael who?
Kubelik? No.
I don't know. Well, it obviously is a musical instrument.
Yes, something associated with her. Indeed, she's thought to have invented it, according to legend.
Well, it's obviously something. It wouldn't be like saying anything like the kazoo. This is allowing
Jews harp.
the organ.
Yes,
She's
that's right.
carrying an organ.
That's right,
Yeah.
and holding an organ which, according to legend, she invented. There is your mark. Inspired by my own mention of Raphael, I should go on to say that sometimes a painting inspires the composition of a piece of music, or at any rate has musical connections. John, you'll know the composer's name, I think. Can you name the painting and the man who painted it in 1717?
Called The Departure of Cythorus.
Yes, or in French?
Le département.
L'embarquement, please.
Embarquement de Cythère.
Yes, and the painter, do you happen to know?
The painter is Watteau you like.
Yes, well, that's right. Watteau, and it's in the Louvre. Music by, of course, you recognised it.
Poulenc.
Yes. Always amuses me, that tune, because I know another tune that's so like it. Do you know the bit that goes... reminds me of...
Down in the Seine with me.
Yes, down by the Seine with me. So, there we are. You've got the mark. Watteau, Embarquement pour Cythère. Smith and Selleck, two pianos there. Frank, Francis Barrault painted it around 1900. Part of the canvas was later painted out and a new section substituted when a famous American inventor refused to buy the painting. You know the picture very well. In fact, there are copies of it in your house. What is the painting called?
This was the time when manufacturers bought famous pictures from art galleries and from the national galleries, such as bubbles.
No.
You know, I'm forever blowing
like
bubbles.
that,
it was originally smoke rings. Because the child was so young, the pairs made it change.
Like that, but it isn't that, of course, is it? Not
no, this is the dog.
That's right.
Sitting by the side of the phonograph, which was originally one of those wax cylinders, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wasn't it right?
That's right, yes. The title of the painting was?
What? Won't I advertise?
No, you must say it, and be banned from broadcasting.
Well, the black and white doggy has got his head twisted to one side, and the title is His Master's Voice.
That's right, yes. And you're only naming a painting, so that's all right. His Master's Voice. In the original, a fox terrier was listening to Edison's phonograph, but Edison refused at the painting. The cylinder was painted out and a disc and horn instrument substituted. In England, trademark of His Master's Voice. In America, of Victor Records. Mark, to you. Ian, the music is recent, but the painting was done between 1733 and 1735. Can you give both music and painting a name? Painting from the 1730s, the music, obviously, the opera, much more recent.
The opera is Stravinsky's
Got it.
Rake's Progress.
Got it, that's right.
So presumably the picture is the same.
Yes, Hogarth series,
Hogarth.
now in the Soane Museum, that's right, Mark, to you. Dennis, the painting was done in the mid to late 1800s. The song is more recent and has a sporting connection.
No, I can see why you were so anxious to hush up Frank.
Frank, yes.
That was by thoroughly modern Millet. With sporting connection.
Well, you
well,
would if you
for
were...
us, for Frank and I, there's only one connection because it's Jimmy Edwards' signature.
Oh, well, yes, that's true. But there's a certain football team. Anybody in the audience care to name it? Thank you. West Ham United, who always seem to do better when that song is being sung from the terraces. I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. Bubbles by Sir John Millet. And the painting, I've been giving the origins of all the others. That painting is now the property, I'm told, of a soap firm. And we all probably know which one.
Well, brown Windsor. It's both soup and soap.
Well, it would have to be a clear soup.
Oh, it's pear soup, actually.
It's Peter Pears, of course, the singer.
Yes. Let's hastily move on to another round, beginning in this case with some simple identification from John Amos. What is it?
It's the music from the ballet by Benjamin Britten called The Prince of the Pagodas, and we need a new production of Covent Garden, please.
Right. The first British full-length ballet. Choreography by John Cranko. Frank, in the story of The Prince of the Pagodas, who plays the part of a salamander?
Smallish chap.
Would you say?
Yes, that's a very good question.
It is. It's a boring answer, but
yes,
a good
a
question.
salamander is not often played by all that many people,
No.
is it? It's probably played by the prince.
Pardon?
The prince.
Oh, absolutely right. Yes, the prince himself. It's Beauty and the Beast all over again, and the prince appears to Beauty as a
Who's the
salamander. Yes. Your friend was no help on that, was he, really?
Well, no, he gave me the answer, but he didn't tell me what it was about.
Well, that's something.
It's rather difficult in one word.
Yes. Ian, that's the Beauty and the Beast story. Talking, though, of legendary beauties. Ian, that's from Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty. What is that particular section called?
Oh. I thought I was just going to have to say Tchaikovsky's Sleeping
Oh,
Beauty.
nothing so easy. Nothing so
What is
easy.
the question?
What's that particular section called? It's a slow, rather flowery bit, you may have noticed.
Slow and flowery.
Yes. Or
Sound like an
flowery and slow, actually.
Sounds like an overweight baker.
That's a very good adlib. Flowery and slow.
Andante or slower?
Well, I wouldn't like to say, really. Try the flower.
Tulip.
So, you'd like it to be that dance would be called the Tulip Andante, would it?
It doesn't ring very true.
No. I'm compelled to dock your mark and tell you that, on the contrary, it's the Rose Adagio.
Yes.
From Sleeping Beauty.
It's a nice name, that, Rose
Yes, isn't it?
Adagio. Sounds like somebody had a Damon Runyon, doesn't it?
Well, we shall see, because I'm going to ask Denis why, Denis, you think that music came to be known as the Rose Adagio.
Well, in the first place, it is an adagio. I mean, they couldn't very well call it Tuxedo Junction or, any sensible name like that. And I suppose Rose because it's poetic. It's more poetic than saying like the cauliflower adagio, which would never. And maybe it was the only colour that they had in stock. That's what always happens to me. The only colour that they had, the costumes came out that colour.
Absolutely right, actually. Also, they called it the Rose Adagio because each prince offers Aurora a rose at that point. Marked to you, why not? In this final round, there's singing from each of our contestants. John, in view of the fact that this particular Cheltenham festival pays tribute to its former president, Sir Arthur Bliss, it would be a nice gesture if you were to sing just a few bars of one of his delightful tunes, and I do mean tunes. In his opera The Olympians, a character sings, "Oh, bitter, bitter is the beauty of this night, how bitter to the lonely aching heart." The words are by J.B. Priestley, who of course wrote the libretto. I think if I play the cello theme on the piano, it will cue you in, all right?
Good.
Like an order at a pub, doesn't it? Oh, bitter, bitter.
I'm glad we got that joke over first.
dark.
Terribly good for those who like that sort of thing.
The answer to anybody who writes and says, are those songs rehearsed? They are not, John, are they? We did that absolutely without rehearsal.
Absolutely, sure. That's why we went wrong.
Frank, it is unthinkable that you should wish to compete with that. Instead, indeed, can you please suggest in song to Mrs. Moore that she shouldn't have any more?
Have you got a key?
Well, I haven't really got one ready, but try that.
Don't have any more. No, can we go up a bit?
Yes, yes.
Don't have any more, Mrs. Moore. Mrs. Moore, don't have any more. The more you have, the more you want, they say. And as enough is as good as a feast any day. If you have any more, Mrs. Moore, you won't get through your front door. And when it's time for bed, there's a lot to be said. For nice cup of tea.
Let our secretary sort out the copyright on that one. Yes. We're going to leave Ian till last for this round and turn to Denis. Denis, I cherish the ambition to hear Denis Norden sing music by Franz Liszt at the Cheltenham International Festival of Music. And to achieve this, I'm going to play the second 8 bars of a popular song and ask you to come in with the middle bit. Okay?
Yeah. Closer, my dear, come closer. The nicest part of any melody is when I hold you. You know, you're going.
Fair enough.
I think you just wanted to play a Liszt piano concerto at the Cheltenham Music Festival.
Right, yes. Or a second Hungarian Rhapsody at any rate.
Whatever it is. Yes.
Ian, a final song from you, and one that concerns a region not terribly far from where we're sitting here in Cheltenham Town Hall, on Lyndon Lee, with, I think, just 2 verses, right? Okay.
Within the woodlands flowery gladed by the oak tree's mossy mood, the shining grass blades timber shaded now to quiver underfoot, and birds to whistle overhead, and waters bubbling in its bed, and there for me the apple tree do lean down low in Linden Lea. Let other folks make money faster in the air of dark room towns. I don't fear a peevish master, though no man may heed my frowns. I'd be free to go abroad, or take again my homeward road, to
And there, on Lyndon Lee, we end this programme. A victory, just by 1 mark, for John Amis and Frank Muir. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were John Amis, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. The chairman was Steve Race. The questions were compiled by Steve Race and the programme was produced by Tony Schreier. We present My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here to introduce the teams is Steve Race.
Thank you. Hello. My Music is out visiting. To be precise, we're on the stage of the Town Hall, Cheltenham, where the famous Cheltenham International Festival of Music is being held. It was felt that no serious symposium of the arts could be contemplated without, and I named them in alphabetical order, John Amis, Frank Muir, Denis Norden and Ian Wallace. John, you first. Let's start you off with a theme arranged by Malcolm Arnold, whose first and fifth symphonies were first performed here in Cheltenham, but whose symphonic work this is decidedly not. Malcolm Arnold's arrangement of a sea shanty. John, Malcolm, together with Richard Rodney Bennett, Thea Musgrave, Nicholas Moore, Robert Simpson and Peter Maxwell Davis, all combined to write a set of variations on a theme by Mildred J. Hill. Why and what was the theme?
Is it Happy Birthday to You?
Yes, it is, by Mildred J. Hill.
And it was written for Willie Walton's.
Yes, Sir William Walton's, which birthday?
75th?
70th birthday, that's right. And they all arranged Happy Birthday to You, and John Amis has a mark.
Since you mentioned symphonies in Cheltenham, may I tell one of my favourite stories? It's in the annals of Cheltenham Music Festival, but perhaps in the Apocrypha section. The story goes that Sir Adrian Boult was rehearsing a new symphony by Humphrey Searle. And Humphrey Searle came in a little bit late into the rehearsal, and after a bit, he was rather impatient and went up to Sir Adrian Boult and said, "Sir Adrian, would you mind taking it a little quicker?" And Sir Adrian looked down very benignly, stroked his moustache and said, "Yes, of course, Mr. Searle, but you do realise this is not your symphony we're rehearsing."
What a splendid story. Lovely. Well, on with the quiz. Frank, this is one of the truly heavenly moments in music. What is it, Frank? What will we listen to?
It's Beethoven's Fifth.
That's right.
And John suggested that fate finally got the door open.
Yes. Is this one of the pieces of music you have on your car stereo cassette? You've now got music in your car, haven't you? And a whole new world has opened to me for questions.
Yes.
Is it one of those?
Well, no, Radio 3 keeps me happy with Beethoven.
Oh, I see, yes, fair enough. I must really tell you, a listener, apropos of that particular Fifth Symphony, a listener in Retford in Nottinghamshire reminded me in a letter about Vic Oliver. You remember Vic Oliver, Frank, who once bumped into a musician he'd known in earlier years and asked him how he was getting on. And his friend said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm running a little orchestra. There are 5 of us. Do come next Saturday. We're doing Beethoven's Fifth." And Vic Oliver turned pale at this thought, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm working this Saturday." And his friend said, "Oh, all the better. Come the following Saturday. We're doing 1812.
The word doing is...
Yes, doing 1812. Ian, your turn. In the year 1788, George III came here to Cheltenham in order to take the waters. In that same year, 1788, this music was composed and first performed, and it, like Frank's music, is symphonic.
Well, I think that was almost certainly composed in the Cheltenham of Austria, which was Salzburg.
Yes, that's right. Very likely. It being by...
Mozart.
And a symphony number...
Oh, no, that's... that is well...
Well, can I give you a
10,
clue?
20,
Try...
30...
try Jack Benny's age.
Well, that's I can't miss it because I've had very good... and Jack Benny's age, which was 39.
That's right. Symphony number 39 in E-flat. How about a Kirkle number, John?
543.
543. John gives it to you, and you got the mark, Ian. Yes, Kirkle. 543.
Well, we got that fully documented.
Dennis, this really is the most remarkable coincidence. You might like to make notes, as I'm just telling you this bit. Mozart, who wrote that symphony, was born in Salzburg, which is on the same line of latitude as the St. Lawrence River. Lawrence of Arabia was filmed in 1962, which was the year in which this next record was made. Mozart never heard it, because exactly 1 century before, he'd been dead for 71 years. My question is, what is it? What is it, Dennis?
That was the piece that Sir Adrian Boult was rehearsing. I don't know what it is. No.
You don't remember, do you? Do you remember? It's familiar, isn't it?
It's very familiar. It sounds... I know. It sounded vaguely film. I changed my mind in mid-air during it. I thought it was film music, and I thought it wasn't.
No, it's atmospheric. Let's work our way towards it. A sandstorm at the beginning?
Oh, was that a sandstorm?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
What sort of a group of men would you have in a sandstorm, and would they know where they were?
I was Foreign Legion type.
Yes, that's right. I can't help anymore. It's called the Lost Patrol.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Johnny...
Ask him for the Kirk number of...
Johnny Keating's orchestra, the K number 1, I suppose, the K for Keating. I can't give a mark there, can I?
Surely that tune is Capriccio Italian, isn't it?
Da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dee-da-da-dum. Well, there you are. Down on the record label as the Lost Patrol. And we move on to a round of purely verbal questions, some unusual, even eccentric characters in musical history, with questions arising from their activities. John, in 1823, a world-famous prima donna agreed to take part in a performance of Handel's Messiah on condition that she was allowed to take over the tenor arias, Comfort Ye and Every Valley. She also demanded to sing, and this in the middle of Messiah, if you please, a performance of Non più andrai from The Marriage of Figaro. The mind really boggles. Can you tell me who she was, I wonder?
I can't, but I'm going to ferret. Was she English? Italian?
Yes, judging by her name.
Who was around in 1823? Any of you?
I can tell you one or two things. She received 200 guineas for a single performance of God Save the King. And as her contemporary John Clare remarked, that ain't hay.
No, it's too early, isn't it, for the Malibran sisters?
No, not judging by her name. Angelica somebody.
Angelica Kaufman.
She may have come. No, she may have come from the Catalan district. I think she may have come from the Catalan district, John. If that's a slight help.
Catalan.
Yes, Catalani. That's right. Well, you got Angelica, didn't you?
Yes.
So it'll be a half mark out of 1. Angelica Catalani was the name of the lady. Frank?
Give me a really hard one.
All right, I'll do that. Interesting, though. This is a more recent singer, much more recent, who's also a guitarist and a composer. He went to jail, Frank, for murder in 1918 and was pardoned in 1925. 5 years later, he was back, this time for attempted homicide. According to musical legend, he was released as a result of singing for the prison governor. He was back a third time, this time for assault, in 1939. He died in 1949, just a year before one of his songs became a million seller. Do you know his name or his nickname or the name of his hit song? Any of the three would do.
I presume it's a folksy singer.
Yes, folksy, blues, 12-string guitar.
American.
Yes. Nickname?
No, I don't know.
Leadbelly?
Yes, your partner's got it, John, yes. Leadbelly. That's right. And the song, do you happen to know, John, on your partner's behalf? Good night,
Why don't
Irene,
you know on my
Irene.
behalf?
Well, there you are. Good Night, Irene was the song. I think you must get the mark because it came from your side. Ian, over to you. In 1737, a visiting singer from Italy so cheered King Philip V of Spain in his melancholy that he was offered 50,000 francs a year to stay on in Madrid. This the singer did, singing the same 4 songs to the king every night for 25 years. Who was this, in many ways, remarkable singer?
Well, he was obviously the fellow who invented repeats. 25 years, sang the same 4 songs. And it's 1737.
Yes, I gave John a hint, so I'll help you a bit. He was the star of the rival company to Handel's in Lincoln's Inn Fields, and I said he was, in many ways, a remarkable singer.
He was a castrato.
Yes, he was. He was a male soprano.
I wonder what the 4 songs were that he sang. I think one of them might have been, It's a Great Big Shame.
The other was Mud.
The other was I'm Too Shy.
He was originally Carlo Broschi, but his name, the most famous of all castratos, you must know, I think, Ian. His name, starting with an F.
It's no good looking at me
isn't
like
it
that
really?
and saying,
No.
you must think, because I don't.
I would ask our distinguished audience, what was his name? Farinelli, says the lady, and she's right,
well done,
yes.
madam.
Well,
You
Ian,
have the mark.
Well, Ian, you get half a mark for not answering, the same as John got half a mark, not half a mark for answering too. Dennis, your man was born in Texas in 1907. At the age of 10, he joined a touring medicine show. Later, he worked on the railroad as a telegrapher, starring in the first Madison Square Garden rodeo. He became a flight officer in the U.S. Air Force, and he sold 1 million records with Frosty the Snowman. What's his name?
Well, we really brought the Cheltenham Music Festival down to my level now.
Yes.
He was... which one? He was one of those singing cowboys, a dreadful idea in films that grew up in the 40s. And he would say things, Roy Rogers, he'd say things like, them darn rustlers have stole my cattle, and they shot my best friend, and they burnt my house, and ravaged my women folk, and I'm going to get them if it's the last thing I do. But first, here's a little song.
How am I, ladies and gentlemen, how am I going to break it to Dennis that it wasn't Roy Rogers?
Gene Autry.
It was Gene Autry. Gene Autry, you've got it, yes.
I said
Well,
Roy Rogers, yeah.
shall we give him a mark or half a mark?
Yeah, give him a mark.
A mark, yes. Audiences are always generous. A mark to you for getting Gene Autry at the second go. Incidentally, Gene Autry's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer sold over 6 million copies, which tells you something about public taste. Something you may not wish to know, but it tells you something about public trade. Here is a chance to pick up 7 marks for your team, because I'm going to play a piano medley.
Oh, yeah.
Not 7.
Yeah.
Yes, a quick dash through 7 more or less recognisable bits from 7 different pieces of music. All of them have something in common, namely superbly artistic performance. The first medley of 7 for John Amos and Frank Muir, working in this instance together as a team. How did you get on?
Go on, you start.
John, a very little snatch of...
Till Eulenspiegel lustige Streiche Tondichten von Richard Strauss.
He's correct, yes, that's right. Till Eulenspiegel, right, that's
Yeah,
one
but-
mark. Yes, then came John.
How much is that doggy in the
No,
window?
before that, there was a bit of something
No, there
else.
wasn't nothing
Yes,
before
there was,
that.
yes, there was. You get it, John?
La Bohème.
Yes. Which bit?
Ta-dam, bam, bam.
Yes, the very
Real
start.
thing.
The
Ba-dum,
very
bum,
start
bum.
of La Bohème. Then came
How much
the
is that doggy in the window? That dog with the wobbly tail. How much was that dog?
Waggly tail it was, actually.
Yeah, waggly. Well,
Then the waltz.
Ta-dam.
ta-dum,
Ba-dam.
bum, bum.
Funny title.
Ba-dum.
Which one is that?
Ba-dum. It's the
Emperor?
one that goes pa-dum, pa-dum.
Is it the Emperor?
No.
Gold and
It's
silver.
the one the birds dictated to Strauss in the film as he rode through a certain wood.
Oh, Tales of the Vienna Wood.
I can't give you that one.
The bird's tails.
Then came 3 others.
I've lost.
Chopstick.
Chopsticks, that's right.
What's it?
2
Who's
more.
that by?
It was by me, if you look on the royalty return.
It was so badly played, I couldn't distinguish the melodies, but let's
Thank
get
God,
on. It's only a beautiful picture
Yes.
in a beautiful golden frame.
That's the song, but interestingly enough, it's not the title.
If those lips could only speak.
You have it. One
If
mark
those
there.
eyes could only see.
He's going to go through the whole lot.
If the beautiful golden tresses
He's got it.
and reality.
And then we wrote, there was one you missed in the middle, you haven't got it, by Franz Lehar, The White Dove by Lehar. So that's 5 out of 7. And over to the second medley, Ian and Denis. Right, back to the scoreboard, see how we're getting on.
I'm clapping at the pictures.
See how we're getting on. Ian, you may have got the first one.
I may not.
Oh, no. Dream a Day, Jill. Edward German. The one
yes.
that began... It's the introduction.
Pretty, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was. It's lovely.
Then came a waltz.
Under the Bridges of Paris.
No, before
No, where we
that.
got
yeah.
a nutcracker.
Yes, which...
Valse des Fleurs.
Les Fleurs, then Under the Bridges of Paris, that's right. 4 more.
Choc Sol.
Choc Sol.
Yes, Choc Sol, but the tune of the song being...
My Hero.
My Hero from the Chocolate Soldier. Then 3 more. Dvorak.
Songs my mother taught me.
Yes, that's right. And then, Dennis?
Sing me a song of the islands.
Song of the Islands.
Yeah.
And finally, perhaps from Ian, I don't know.
Coppelia.
Yes, which?
Waltz.
Waltz from Coppelia by Delibes. You've got 6 out of 7. Very good. And on to the last round. There's nothing like a bit of spontaneous singing for clearing the throat and for clearing the Cheltenham Town Hall. So we come to the party piece. John, it's something I once heard you sing during a party that developed into a musical evening. It's a lovely bit of melody that occurs in Puccini's Girl of the Golden West, Fanciulla. What you cannot say has been revealed by your heart, sings one of the characters, Johnson. I'll give you a G-flat chord.
What you cannot say has been revealed by your heart. When my arms circled your waist in the dance just now, when against my heart I could feel yours beat, I was filled with joy divine, and a wondrous calm I cannot describe.
From The Girl of the Golden West. Frank, your song might be retitled Summer Night on the River, but its actual
Sailing
title...
down the river.
No, it's Row, Row, Row that I'm after,
that one?
actually. Yes. Row, Row, Row.
He's got... yes. Do you want to accompany me?
Yes, with pleasure.
How about roundabout? Da 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 da. Da da. Yes, that'll do. Yes. We got a row, row, row. Way up the river he would go, go, go. A kiss he'd give her, and then he'd hug her now and then. She would tell him when, and then they'd roll around and fool around and fool around again. And then they'd row, row, row. Way up the river he would go, both he and Flo. Then he'd rest on his oars, and she'd take off her hat, and then they'd row, row, row.
Ian, we'll save you till last, as usual, and turn to Dennis. Dennis, as in John's case, this is something I know you know because I once heard you make a reference to it. I don't really know it all that well myself, so we'll manage it between us, shall we? When my little Pomeranian met your little Pekingese. Okay.
It was such a lovely evening as we strolled beneath the trees, and my little Pomeranian saw your little Pekingese. It was just a casual meeting, and I gave your hand a squeeze, 'cause my little Pomeranian kissed your little Pekingese. It seems they're telling you just what to do. We might have thought of that before. Please don't forget, though we've just met, I'm sitting up to beg for more. So I told you that I love you down upon my bended knees. When my little Pekingese met your little Pomeranian. I'll tell you one semi-interesting thing about that song. It was banned by the BBC, and it was called Smart Smut Because there was something equivocal about the behaviour of the two dogs.
What did Francis do?
Francis Day and Al Bowley recorded it with Roy Fox. It was written by a chap called Little Jack Little, who was a band leader, and he wrote his signature theme he called Little by Little.
Thank you.
Wasn't it strange those days when records had on them Band 1 on no account is to be broadcast?
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first time coming on this in the BBC studio and doing a record program, and here was this great announcement on the record and the label, and it would said bands 1, 4, and 6 not to be broadcast.
Yes.
And I thought, I've got hold of a very exciting record here. And I found that band 1 was June is busting out all over.
Well, Ian, your turn to sing. In this very town of Cheltenham, one of the major English composers was born, Gustav Holst. Splendid ending, I thought, to our programme, if you would sing just a verse of his I Vow to Thee, My Country.
I vow to thee, my country, all earthly things above, entire and whole and perfect, the service of my love, the love that asks no question, the love that stands the test, that lays upon the altar the dearest and the best, the love that never falters, the love that pays the price, the love that makes undaunted
Marvellous tune, and I hope you'll agree that the programme has not been a total failure either. Not anyway for the victors this week, who I see from the score sheet are John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. The chairman was Steve Race. The questions were compiled by Steve Race and the programme was produced by Tony Schreier. We present My Music. A musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here to introduce the teams is Steve Race.
Thank you. Here we are again, happy as can be, all good pals and we hope reasonably good company. We being, as ever, John Amos and Frank Muir versus Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. John Amos, here's a first question for you. Which literary hero does this music describe? Literary.
It's not me.
No. It's a little bit like my coat. Rough tweed or corsair. Sorry about that.
Yes,
but it is the Corsair Overture by Berlioz.
Yes, and the literary hero by a book by...
Probably Walter Scott.
No, the other one.
The other one. Who's the other one?
The one who to the Dark Tower came.
Byron.
Thank you. Yes, Byron. So really, I think it must be half a mark out of 1, mustn't it? Because you've got Le Corsaire, but not Byron. Previn and the London Symphony Orchestra playing it. Frank, your turn. For you, something of a contest between harmony and invention. Your question, though, is what time of year is it? I'll give you 5 choices.
I know this very well. It's Vivaldi's Four Seasons, or one of them.
Yes.
And I love this very much. And the it's not summer.
No, that's right.
Because I know summer.
A bit later than that.
Well, it's autumn or winter, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I didn't say a lot later. I said a bit later than.
Oh, it's autumn.
Yes, Julie.
Without help.
Without any help, yes. I did drop the line that it was something of a contest between harmony and invention, which John would get that point, because that was Vivaldi's original title, wasn't it? The contest between harmony and invention.
It's a better title than the Four Seasons.
Really,
too.
yes.
Why did you say there was a choice of 5 there?
Well, just to be difficult.
Oh, I see.
Because I know it teases.
In the New York garment industry, they say that there are 5 seasons: spring, summer, winter, autumn, and off.
That's nice. Yes. Well,
silly.
Do you think we give him the mark? Yes, I think we do, yes. Yes, nice recording there by the virtuosi di Roma. Ian Wallace, a familiar clog dance. Which ballet score does this come from?
Yes, it's La Fille Malgarde.
Yes.
Which obviously means that it's French. And that conjures up a number of possible composers like Adon.
No, try H.
H?
Yes.
Oh! Hark the Herald.
Yes, the Herald. That's right, the composer of Zampa, as a matter of fact. Ballet with choreography by Sir Frederick Ashton. Lanchbury there with the Royal Opera House Orchestra. You've got the mark. Dennis Norden, a little jazz for you. Some jazz musicians never quite play the tune, though it's there somewhere, very often lurking about. This is Bud Freeman playing what? Listen carefully for hints. Nearly played it, didn't you?
Yes. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yes,
That's the
which
one.
is-
I found a new baby.
I found a new baby, yes, Spencer Williams' tune. It was played incidentally, by Bud Freeman with his summa cum laude, if I pronounce it correctly, orchestra, which means, as you know, of the highest...
Passing out with the highest honours.
Laudatory praise, yes. The title apparently was suggested by Eddie Condon's wife, who was an advertising copywriter. And she said, why don't you call your band your Summa Cum Laude Orchestra? And he did. Bud Freeman, anyway. I found a new baby, and you get the mark.
Summer come laude. It's rather nice, isn't it? Summer comes softy.
Yes.
Actually, Jack Benny did a joke once about an orchestra, which he said was summa cum laude.
Let's try you on another set of questions.
Summertime.
John, in the composer's own words, it was Tom Jones, a comedy for music. But I think of it more as an opera, first produced at Sadler's Wells in 1976. 1976. Who was the composer?
Stephen Oliver.
Right.
rather remarkable. He's only 26, 27, and he's already written about 18 or 19 operas.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. It really gets the libretti from. That's the problem, isn't it? Finding the books to write them to.
Well, I suppose in fielding,
Well, thank you very much, says Frank Muir, because that's his question. Frank, Fielding's Tom Jones was the novel, of course, on which that opera was based. What was the novel's full name when it was published in 1749?
Tom Jones, a foundling.
Yes, nearly. There's something of Tom Jones, a foundling.
Oh, the history.
That's right. The History of Tom Jones, a Foundling was the full title. That's right. In those days, a very crisp, short, brief title.
Indeed it was.
2 marks to you. Ian, a comic opera, Tom Jones. You know the composer. Could you put a date to its first production? Let's have the composer first.
The composer was Edward German.
That's right, yes.
And it must have been 1900 something.
Yes, good.
Sort of thing. Oh, I'll draw a bow at a bench and say 1908.
Quite near enough. The first production at the Apollo Theatre, London, in 1907. Very good. The book, the adaptation of the Fielding original, was by A.M. Thompson and Robert Courtnidge, who, of course, was the father of Cecilia Courtnidge. Yes. You've got the marks. Dennis, we turn finally to a pop singer named Tom Jones, though he was born Thomas Jones Woodward of Glamorgan. What was his first million record seller and when? Tom Jones.
Well, Tom Jones was a 60s phenomenon, wasn't he?
Yes, mid-60s.
So it would be about, I was going to say about the middle of the 60s. They booked him to sing What's New Pussycat on the strength of his already existing hit.
In the same year.
It's not unusual.
It's not unusual. Yeah. Both of them in the same year, actually, and the year being...
Well, the middle of about 65, 66.
Yes, 1965. Those are your 2 marks. And on to the next round. John Amos, over to you again. What begins with this fugue?
Rather surprisingly, it's Puccini, Madame Butterfly.
Yes. And it reminds me always of the Bartered Bride overture. You know, that's it's a bit like the Bartered Bride. Yep, Butterfly, Puccini. First production of that, 1904. 2 marks to you.
She wasn't a bride, though, was she?
Ah, well. Stand by for further announcements. Frank. 3 characters. I wonder if you can tell me something about, say, one of them. Miss Nimble Cloud, Ray of Morning Sun, and the Aromatic One.
Miss Nimble Cloud, Ray of Morning Sun, also featured in a song by Julie Andrews. Dough, the stuff that goes into bread, ray
of morning sun.
A bit of morning sun, me a name I call myself,
etc. Yes. Well, that would do. Yes. Just for the record, they were, in fact, Butterfly's servants. They were respectively maid, cook, and butler, mentioned in Act 1. Ian, I need hardly remind you that there's much superb romantic music in Butterfly. For example. Callas there, Nikolai Gedda. But your question, Ian, concerns a rather less emotional bit. When Gedda, in Act 1, sings about scorning all risks, sprezzando rischi, what is the line that rhymes with it? Sprezzando rischi?
It rhymes with whiskey.
Yes.
Is it, something punch and whiskey?
Yes. Try a light, white-coloured drink.
Milk?
Yes, milk punch or whiskey?
Yes.
Yes, you got the marks.
I remember the whiskey bit, I'm afraid that's all.
Let's just hear that passage. Milk punch or whiskey?
A lot of singers actually rather blur over that line because they're rather afraid of getting a laugh at that particular point.
I'm not surprised.
Did I tell you the story before about a friend of mine who was playing the part of Madame Butterfly in Australia, and it was a production where they actually needed to have a child, not just a sort of little dummy dolly. And the child was ill at the last moment, and they tried to find a child everywhere, couldn't. And then somebody remembered that there was a circus in town, and there was a fairly young dwarf. So they hired this fairly young dwarf, who was a rather healthy lad of about 25. And in the last scene, she, forgetting that it wasn't the usual child, she clasped this 25-year-old dwarf to her ample bosom, and she kept on doing it, and he started getting very, very interested. And eventually he went more or less berserk, and they had to pull the curtain down.
Denis, Madame Butterfly, though herself by name Lepidopterus, of course, had a special interest in ornithology. What was that? What was her special interest in birds?
Well, Pinkerton gave her the bird. He left her with a minor. There were the what else? She got rooked. What? Oh, yes, thank you.
Well.
I've simply been waiting
your marks,
for the message to come through, and I've now had my card marked. It said, he said he'd return when the robins nest.
Yes.
That's,
yes. And how couldn't have put it better myself? You get your marks. As Butterfly herself insisted, it would all come to pass as I tell you. And so on. Lovely. In the lead, just slightly at the moment, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. As for the next 4 questions, in each case the answer is in the song lyrics, the words of the song. 2 marks for the correct answer, but, gentlemen, a mark knocked off if you sing instead of saying the answer. Are not permitted to sing. John, you first. When Frankie shot Johnny, who was the third party?
Please, sir, he's singing mentally.
Yes, he is.
So he left her for another.
Yes. Well, there was a third party. It was a triangle.
No message coming through. No message coming through.
She caught a fly in another song.
Burlies.
Now, I really
cow.
really can't help, can I? The audience, who was it?
Mr. Christian.
No, who was it? Anybody in the audience know? Who was the third party? Frankie, Johnny, and...
Nellie Bly.
Yes. John, you just got it before they did, I think. Did you think
Nellie
of it?
Bly.
Did you think of it
Yes,
very
I
self?
thought of it. I
Yes.
suddenly remembered that wonderful little cartoon, Stephen Bazustov. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He went with Nellie Bly.
Yes, you just got it in time, so you get the 2 marks. 2 because you got it right but didn't sing it.
The name of a dinghy.
Frank, where do troubles melt? Like lemon drops.
Troubles melt like lemon drops.
Oh, he's smart. He's going to say it
Over
instead
the
of singing it.
rainbow.
Yes, over the rainbow. That's right.
An unsung hero, am I?
Ian, on St. Stephen's Day there was a really rotten frost with the snow evenly distributed. How about the moon?
Deep and crisp, and not the moon.
No, not the... No.
Crisp and even.
We don't have deep, even
Brightly
moons.
shone
shone the
that
moon that
night.
How
Though
nice.
the frost was cruel.
Yes, that's right. 2 marks to you.
Charm,
Denis, yes, Denis. What do buffalo, deer and antelope do, respectively, on the range?
Well, it's very good for it, actually. Actually, they do what I do to a song. But the buffalo roam.
That's right.
And the deer and the antelope play.
Yes, nice distinction. Yes. 2 marks to you. Let's move on to the subject of themes and musical thumbprints. John, I take it you've noticed that our signature tune has been refurbished. You can't beat a nice new furbish, I will say. Listen to it. It's not the end of the programme. Just listen to the music and see if you can identify the musical instruments, 8 of them, the musical instruments used.
Probably 3 trumpets on top.
Go on.
Well, bongos.
Go on again.
Probably some trombones.
Go on
String
again.
bass guitar.
Yep, bass guitar, yes. It's the first one you got absolutely right, actually, bass guitar. Anything else to add there?
No.
I propose to give you 1 mark out of 2, because bass guitar was right. There were 4 trumpets, not 3. No trombones. The bongos were, in fact, conga drums. And the other 2 instruments were electric guitar, apart from the bass guitar, and cabassa. That's the thing with a bead frame round it, which is a gourd with a bead frame round it. So 1 mark out.
Bongo, conga. What does it matter? As long as he...
Schmongo. Frank, I sometimes refer to My Word as the sister programme of My Music. That's the signature tune that you must have heard literally hundreds of times. Who composed that tune, Frank?
I know the name of it. At least I think I do, because it came out, as it were, during conversation sometime. It's called Alpine Valleys or something.
I'm trying to give you a hint. It's Alpine Pastures.
Well,
for which you might expect a mark, I think.
I hope so, yes.
I'll give you...
What were you whistling there?
I'll give you the name. I was whistling Ma Bella Margarita. Vivian Ellis.
Vivian Ellis, yes.
Wrote the tune. 1 mark out of 2.
Well, margaritas grow in the valley.
Yes, that's true. Ian, back to our own signature tune. The late Graham Daly composed it, but listen again to the old original recording we used for so many years and see if you can give me the instrumentation of that.
Very moving to hear it again, isn't it? Well, that was surely played on something called a mellotron.
Yes.
Which is a whole lot of tapes inside.
Yes.
And you can press buttons and get boom, 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 and then you just play the top line, or you can get
Very good. Yes, that's right.
Yes. Ian's a kind of fellotron, isn't it?
Yes, an electronic keyboard instrument, the mellotron, using pre-recorded tapes, triggered off by the pressing of the keys. Extraordinary instrument. 2 marks to you. Dennis, while we're on signature tunes, this is one that you have reason to remember.
I can't tell you the instrumentation. I'll tell you the drummer's name was Styx Giblet.
That's not the question, unfortunately. Take it from here, of course. Take it from here, from which you and Frank wrote goodness knows how many scripts. Who composed that signature tune?
Who composed it? It was composed by Johnny Johnston, who went on to do much better things with commercial tunes, advertising tunes. We wrote the lyric, and the BBC couldn't understand the title. They kept saying, but what does Take It From Here mean?
Yes. I got news for you. On the record label, you are not mentioned. It says that the song is by Muir and Johnston.
My solicitors will turn this place into a bowling alley.
Does that mean that royalty should have wafted my will?
They should have accrued a bit by now. Yes.
No accruing at all has happened.
Yes. In this final round, we have some singing. The panellists take it in turns to try their hand at a party piece. That's what it amounts to. This week, all the songs have something to do with birds or animals. Well, call them creatures to be on the safe side. John, your creature is a bird, the swallow. A song about a swallow. You've got several possibilities to choose from. so please choose one. A swallow. A lump.
Yes. Mine's a folk song. She's like the swallow that flies so high. She's like the river that never runs dry. She's like the sunshine on the lee shore. I love my love, and love is no more.
Wasn't squeaky at all.
No.
Frank, another bird. How about the skylark?
Is that Skylark?
Yes, that's a skylark. Yes.
There's
another one, I know.
There's a nice one, isn't there? There's an old-time musical song.
Yes.
Sung by a choir boy in white, which goes, if I can remember it. Skylark, skylark, winging your way on high. Skylark, skylark, when you are up in the sky. If among the angels, Mummy, you should see, ask her when she will come home again to poor dear Daddy and me.
Dennis, Albert Whelan had what he called a fable about a preacher and a bear. It was later adopted by people of other nationalities, yes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You do.
Oh, well, it's rather a long song, which I can't possibly remember the verse, but the verse was about a preacher in the southern states of America who went hunting on a Sunday when he should have been in church, and he suddenly encountered a bear who chased him, and he shinned up a tree, the preacher, that is, and the bear on the ground below. And then the chorus of the song, the preacher sang, "Oh, Lord, you delivered Daniel from the lion's den, also delivered Jonah from the belly of the whale, and then the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace, so the good book do declare. Oh, Lordy, if you don't help me, for goodness sake, don't help that bear."
That's very, very interesting to me to hear that song, because...
You're a musician, and you wonder...
No, because it shows the wide gulf of subtlety between you and me, that you would remember that was the one you remembered, because I don't remember that at all, the words of that. But on the flip side of that record, when I was a boy, was a song called, also by Albert Whelan, called "Never Have a Bath Till You Need One." And that appealed to me enormously. And I learnt that song and used to sing it at Boy Scout campfires about never have a bath till you need one, and don't even have one then. And you see, you got that marvellous thing with all that biblical stuff in, and I just had that one simple message to deliver.
Well, actually, if you're on a sort of Albert Whelan fest, I'm sure there's some listeners who remember a song he used to sing called "The Three Trees." There, and there.
That's right, yes. Well, Ian, not the bath song, but for you, we were doing animals, remember?
Yes, I do.
For you, a horse, a white horse in. Okay?
The white horse in and the white horse in, there's joy the whole summer through. There's sunshine always in store there, for happiness stands at the door there. The days fly past, you must leave at last, but still, whatever you do, you'll hear when twilight is falling, the white horse calling to you.
afraid White Horse Inn brings us to closing time. It's been a victory this week for Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. The chairman was Steve Race. The questions were compiled by Steve Race and the programme was produced by Tony Schreier. We present My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here to introduce the teams is Steve Race.
Thank you. The programme is called My Music, and the four contestants are called, respectively, John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace, Denis Norden. I am sometimes accused of giving John Amos difficult questions to answer. Naturally, I reply, because he's the only professional music critic here. But just to give you an easy starter for once, tell us what this is, John.
In the first place, I haven't been a music critic for about 15 years. I was one, but I bettered myself.
You do tend to criticise music, though, don't you?
In the second place, I always take it as a compliment if you give me difficult questions. In the third place, it's Tannhäuser Overture by Richie Wagner. And the best performance I ever heard of it was by a marvellous man who used to be the boss of the music at King's College called Boris Ord. And he used to play the left-hand part on the piano, ploying, ploying, ploying. And he used to play all that with a lavatory brush. And it was very effective.
His version was called Tannhäuser.
He must have played it in C. It wouldn't work if you had white and black notes alternately.
He did, you know.
Did he? Yes. Anyway, that wasn't the recording we heard. It wasn't Boris Ord. It was the version by the Vienna Philharmonic, and Knappersbusch actually was conducting.
Knappersbusch. May I tell you a story about Knappersbusch? It's very short.
Be my guest.
He conducted a rather bad orchestra in the Ruhr, Bochum Philharmonic Orchestra. And afterwards, the manager, pushing his luck, said, "Tell me, Dr. Knappersbusch, when was the last time you conducted the Bochum Philharmonic Orchestra?" And he said, "Tonight."
Oh, lovely. Right, we move on to our second contestant, Frank Muir. Frank, dig back in your memory. Who's this singer? Favourite bit down there, the mutter bit. Who was she?
Unmistakable, yes. Danny LaRue. It's a lady from the wilds of South America, reputedly, called Ema Sumac.
Yes, or was she Amy Camus, the other way round? I often wonder.
There's an anagram of stomachache.
Ema Sumac, yes. Ian, if Ema Sumac could sing higher than most people, here's someone who could sing lower. But the interesting thing about this recording, I think, is what he chose not to sing. Who was it, Ian?
It was Paul Robeson.
Yes. Paul Robeson not singing...
Old Man River.
Well... Oh, you clever fellow. Among other things, he was not singing, yes. He wasn't singing the Pipes of Pan either, but...
Well, I think he might have had a bit of trouble with that. He was a great singer, but...
Yes, well, you've got the mark. You've got the singer, Paul Robeson. What he was doing, I think, is so interesting. He was deciding not to sing the scat singing bit out of It Ain't Necessarily So.
Oh, I see. That was... the orchestra was
below,
playing away there.
all the other people sang, below. He wasn't going to sing that. He sang the original.
Quite right.
Yes. And in fact, he went on after that to sing this.
Jonah, he lived in no whale. Yes, Jonah, he lived in no whale. Now he made his home in that fish's abdomen. Yes, Jonah, he lived in no whale.
Super voice. Dennis, it's your turn to answer a question. Who is this French lady?
Quand j'étais enfant, très souvent ma mère me disait que les âges au ciel voyaient tout ce que Dieu faisait. Fais attention au mon cœur, tu les âges, tu vas n'oublie jamais.
I don't know who she is, but she's
Chilean
not
French, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
I always remember we used to have a French teacher when I was at school, and he used to say that the clue was always in the word "dans," and he used to make us sit there for hours going "dans," and you said it's not "dong."
D-O-N-G.
And English and American people tend to say "dong," yes. But I don't know who she is, other than that she isn't French. She's very likely American, but I can't really identify her.
Well, she has certain pronunciation troubles herself when she comes over here, because we tend to call her Warwick.
Oh, Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick,
oh,
yes.
Sorry, yes.
Can't give you the mark, can
No.
I? A listener wrote to say that he'd heard her announced on Radio Moscow as Dionne Varvika. So that's 3 names. Kitten on the keys. Horsey, keep your tail up. The cow boogie. Sheep may safely graze. There seem to be a lot of animals mixed up in music, one way or another. A listener to this programme named Cunningham in Sussex writes to ask which animals' names you've noticed perhaps in musical titles, and suggests Red Seals in the Sunset as a starter for you. So the topic is animals and music. John, any thoughts? A title perhaps, or...
You mean cod titles or
Well,
series?
perhaps. It depends how lucky you are.
Well, I was reading the other day about the man who wrote perhaps the most famous conglomeration of animals, which is his zoological fantasy, Camille Saint-Saëns. The funny thing is that he thought that perhaps the parodies and things would do his reputation harm. And so while he was alive, he would only allow The Swan, Le Cygne, to be published, and the others were only ever played privately. And he released the work, so to speak, in his will.
Right, interesting about Saint-Saëns and the Carnival of the Animals. Frank, animals and music?
Unforgettable. That's what you want. There's a very old one called... mice don't often figure in songs, do they? Mice in was loving you.
You're using up everybody's, aren't you? Let me call Hop, may I, and see if Ian...
They're all crossing them off their list now.
Yes, Ian's been writing furiously and now crossing off furiously.
One that's possible for a mare that found herself jilted, which should be, I'm alone, big horse, I love you.
Oh, yeah. Should have put a preservation order on that one.
Dennis, how are you faring?
Oh, my menagerie has been reduced, actually, but I found a chihuahua and a gnu and a gorilla.
Oh, let's have them.
Chihuahua, did Chihuahua see a dream? Anything you gnu, I gnu better. Yeah. And gorilla, do you know, more than you know, gorilla my dream.
I love you, sir. We could have a quick chorus of Pick a Knees Up, Mother Brown.
Well, our listener friend, Mr. Cunningham in East Grinstead, with, of course, all the time in the world to think about it, did suggest you ought to be in pictures. You ought to be in pictures. Very good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's time for my piano medleys. All right, Frank, one for each team. Pens, ink and paper out, please. Numbers 1 to 6, you get a mark for each title. Correct, 6 marks in exchange for 6 titles. And the first medley for John and Frank. Thank you. How did you get on? That's you started, yes?
Give me your tiny hand. Yes, Don Giovanni.
Yes.
Second one my friend got.
No, I didn't. I was writing, but I didn't get it. It's a South African thing.
Yes, that's right.
It's the dorps or the
my wonderful, beautiful,
beautiful Sari Marimba.
Murray, near enough.
Right.
Sorry, Murray, that's good enough, right. Then,
might it be the old grandfather
yes,
clock?
my grandfather's clock, yes. Then, a timely piece.
If you want to know the time,
ask a policeman.
That's right. Back to opera.
Here's an end to your games with the boys, girls. I mean, girls, boys, sorry.
Farage of Negro, that's right. Yes,
I say.
That's right.
They'll
yes.
be happy. Don't apologise.
And, finally.
Well, that was it.
Didn't get the other one.
No.
Hush, hush, nobody cares.
No.
Ian Wallace is saying his prayers.
Ian Wallace is trying to tell you what it is. You don't get the mark, Ian. It was, in fact, you heard
Silent worship.
Silent worship, yes. So,
Sorry.
5 out of 6, and a second medley for Ian and Dennis. Little tunes there. Yeah. First one.
On the 12th day,
Yes.
first day of Christmas.
Yes, 12 days of Christmas, that's right, yes.
Lisbon story.
Well,
Pedro the
that's
Fisherman.
that's what it came from, Pedro the Fisherman. Dennis got it, yes. Then?
The Turkish rondo
Yes.
from the Mozart, whatever it is, piano sonata.
Sonata in A, that's right, doing well. Then came?
The Soldiers' Chorus from
Military
Fife.
bit, yes.
And then you're all on your own, Dennis, from there
I'm
on.
not. I'm halfway on my Nature Boy.
Yes, that's
well
right,
done.
Nature Boy. And the
But I
last
didn't
one?
know what the last one was.
It was Massenet's Elegy. Elegy by Massenet. So you too get 5 out of 6. Next round, titles and numbers. John, numbers 1 and 2 in F, numbers 3 and 4 in G, 5 in D, and 6 in B flat. What am I talking about?
Dedicated to the Margrave of Brandenburg.
They are Bach's
Concertos. 6 of
Brandenburg
them.
concertos, yes.
Isn't there a sort of cake the one used to have, which was rectangular,
Slice.
with marzipan?
Battenberg.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Battenberg cakes, those are. That's right. It's a good idea for any composer listening, right? 6 Battenberg concertos.
Piece of cake.
Brandenburg
Piece of cake, Dennis. Frank, remember this is about numbers. Anyone who gets it rather badly at 24, what will he be doing at 35?
At 35, he's flirting madly with 2 or 3 or more.
That's right. From the
When he says his past love, he says then and not before that he meets his last love.
Absolutely.
And he loves her, as he's never loved before.
Right, Mark. Back to rather more serious matters, Ian. If number 4 is tragic, what is number 9?
Oh, an absolute disaster.
Quite the reverse, really.
Or it goes along the King's Road, Chelsea.
Well, now, number 4, tragic. Number 9. Can I give you a musical clue?
Oh, do.
Right, here it is. Listen carefully.
Yes, that's very familiar.
Horns.
I mean, it's very familiar, but I'm afraid I'm not going to get this.
No, it's they're Schubert symphonies. It's the Great C Major. It's known as the Great C Major Symphony. Dennis, what winds from Chicago to Los Angeles, and how long is it? Winds
from Chicago to L.A. More than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66.
That's right, and here's the proof in the voice of Nat Cole.
It winds from Chicago to L.A. More than 2,000 miles all the way.
Lovely man. On to the next round. Here is some mood music. Music that establishes a mood. In fact, it might even suggest some dialogue to you or a commentator's voice. Question then is simply, what comes next? Can you take over when the music stops? I warn you, there isn't much of the music. John, you're first. A piece, actually it's called Madeleine. And when the music stops, in you come.
We are here for the new showing of the clothes in the new season's fashions, and here comes Madeleine. She is wearing a dress which is sort of made of a kind of yellow sponge-like material, and over that she has a kind of apricot jam kind of thing with little lumps of coconut, all over, and on her head she has a great big cherry, and that is why she's called Madeleine.
Yes, the marks to you, of course. Frank, can you put this somehow into words?
Yeah, well, I took out the violin because I couldn't get on with the bass flute because my chair was right up against the right-hand wall and there was no room for the flute. Could we stick sideways, you see? So up the Royal College of Music, they said, why don't you take out something else? So I took out the old fiddle and I've been playing. I play the old Hungarian music quite a lot because it does match, where your fingers go. If in doubt, you just slur the fingers up and down the band, and it comes out right, like Monty Stardust.
Monty Stardust. Yes. Thank you, Ian. Your turn next. What does this bring to your mind?
I hope you sleep well, he said. It's quite late now, and I think you should be going. And then he held open the door, and I went through. And suddenly everything was terribly cold. So cold I was shivering and trembling, and there was a light. And in it I could see its legs, all tied together with string. It was a chicken. I just
crept into the fridge.
A rather different kind of music I've chosen for Dennis. Dennis, it's your turn.
Didn't really suggest anything. That it's either the kind of music they play behind a commercial for a new chocolate bar. In case of that one, I would think they're a bar called Noshville. Or it's that kind of inappropriate music they put behind medical documentaries to stop you throwing up.
Yes, I accept that quite happily. I intended it to be a sort of country-style guitar, naturally, but you got the idea with your Noshville. It's very nice fun. Oh, no, but a man called Gert Trade. It
was all the notes.
All four of them. Yes, he wrote all four of those pieces of music. And it's party piece time. In other words, this is where our contestants do a bit of singing. John, I have a nice 2 bars of Mozartian introduction for you.
Voi che sapete che cosa amò, donne vedete sino nel cor, donne vedete sino nel cor, sospiro e gemo senza voler, palpito e tremo senza saper, non trovo pace notte né dì, ma piace può languir così. Voi che sapete che cosa amor, donne vedete filo nel cor, donne vedete fino nel cor, donne vedete filo nel cor.
Frank, I hardly think you'd like to follow that with another piece of Mozart, unless it was perhaps George Mozart. In the spirit of the old music hall... now he's taken offence. Yeah. Would you try a chorus of Oh, Mr. Porter? You choose a key, we'll all join in.
Oh, Mr. Porter, what shall I do? I wanted to go to Birmingham and they've carried me on to Crewe. Oh, take me back to London quickly as you can. Oh, Mr. Porter, what a silly girl I am. Oh, Mr. Porter, what shall I do? I wanted to go to Birmingham, they carried me on to Crewe. Take me back to London as quickly as you can. Oh, Mr. Porter, what a silly girl I am.
Dennis, Fats Waller not only sang good songs, he wrote good songs.
And you give them to me.
Yeah, I give them to you, yes.
It's kind of the vocal equivalent of John's friend's lavatory brush.
How about Fats Waller, not Honeysuckle Rose, it's his best known song, I suppose, but Keeping Out of Mischief.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever key you like.
Keeping out of mischief now. Really? Where are you, Steve?
Right, sorry. Start again.
Keeping out of mischief now. Really am in love and how. I'm through playing with fire. It's you whom I desire. All the world can plainly see. You're the only one for me. I have told them in advance, you can't break up our romance, living up to every vow, keeping out of mischief. Where are you, Steve? No.
Anywhere you want to be. I thought you were going to do keeping out of mischief now.
If you'll get on to Hertz Renter voice. Yeah.
Ian, in the last programme we did, John sang an unaccompanied folk song, and this week I wonder if you'd like to give us the same thing. I shall sit here and take my ease while you give us just a verse, I suppose we say, of She Moved Through the Fair.
Before you take your ease, Steve, I would appreciate a chord of G, I think.
G.
I think that.
Where would you like it on the piano? There?
No. Could we have it a little higher than that? Yes. Thank you.
My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father won't slight you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day.
Thank you, Ian. Just time to tell you that this week's scoreboard shows a victory, as in some weeks and not in other weeks, a victory for John Amos and Frank Muir. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. The chairman was Steve Race. The questions were compiled by Steve Race, and the program was produced by Tony Schreier. We present My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here to introduce the teams is Steve Race.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Here at the Commonwealth Institute in London we have another edition of My Music for you. The cast is unchanged, but I'll put a brave face on it just the same as I introduce John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Here's some cheerful and familiar music just to start us off. John Amos, what is this? You're looking a bit puzzled.
I'm very puzzled. Is it French music?
No.
It is not French music?
No.
Well, then I'm...
Or niet, I should have said. Niet.
Pardon?
Niet.
Russian?
Yes.
Russian.
You have actually a choice of two.
Not that old Stinker Glinker again, is it?
No. Not Stinker Glinker, no. I can't do a rhyme for this chap.
You can't?
No. You have a choice. It occurs in a ballet and in a seasonal piece as well.
Ian Wallace is holding up a glass of vodka.
Well, that's to show you that it's not Blinker.
Glass slippers.
Ah,
Glasgow.
I don't think I can
really know.
Help anymore. It's Glazunov's ballet, The Seasons. The same theme occurs in the birthday offering. Rather strident orchestral playing, I thought there, if you noticed. It reminded me of Richard Strauss's advice to young conductors. Remember, he said to young conductors, never look encouragingly at the brass. So true. So no mark to start with, but see how you get on, Frank. Debussy, Frank, gave this music a very evocative name. Let's see how close you can get to his title. Frank, a title.
Claire de Lune's brother, Pan.
Brother? Pantaloon. Oh, sorry. It would do rather nicely.
But it's a sort of lapping oars and waves suggestion, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
It went.
Yes.
And also, I heard an astral whisper from my port side, which said, En bateau.
En bateau. Yes, from Debussy's Petite Suite for two pianos. En bateau is his title, and I prefer yours, but then I knew I would. Ian, you will know this immediately, but do you know what it's called?
You're absolutely right. I knew immediately.
Tremendously familiar, isn't it?
Not what it was called, but
no.
I've heard it. Rightly or wrongly, I associate that with a television series of many years ago called Face to Face.
I think you'd be wrong.
But very likely.
I think you'd be wrong. I don't think it was used in... Was it used in that, John, do you know?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was, no.
Not unless they were wearing masks at the time.
Oh, yes. That's a hint. A heavy, heavy hint.
A heavy hint, is
yes.
it?
Italian masks at that.
Masca.
Well, no, you're being a little too literal, actually. John thought his was by a French composer, and this one is. This is a French composer.
Good.
Nice for him.
I don't think I'm going to get this.
It's by Fauré, and it's the overture from Masque et Bergamasque, which is the way John was trying to help you.
Oh, I see. Well, the only connection I ever had with Bergamasque was playing the part of Bottom in Midsummer Night's Dream, and he talks about a Bergamasque towards the end, I remember, in the play scene. But we would have had to have gone a long way round before we'd have got there.
Yes, no marks to you. Turn your face to wall. No marks.
Oh, very crisp.
Yeah, very good. Dennis, for you, a different kind of music, as it so often is in this program. Who is this sexy gentleman?
Midnight seems so nice to me. It's the start of a new day. And there's no place in this world that I'd rather be than right here with midnight and you. Right on, baby.
I had a feeling you might say that. Right on.
Yeah. It's funny how my questions, you're quite right, I get a feeling that the whole program changes from the kind of socio-economic grouping A1, B1 down to the C's and D's. Either faint memories or associations with Telly Savalas there, but the R's are different. I don't know. I think I've heard it, and I've probably heard the guy's name, but, you get to a certain age where in order to store any fresh information, you have to push another bit of information out. And I don't think there was anything I was ready to part with to make way for him.
Yes. He calls his group the Love Unlimited Orchestra. His name's Barry White. He's an enormous man, musically very talented. He does arrangements and compositions and so on. I went to see him at a concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and he came on. I don't see anybody else do this. He came on in the spotlight, and in his right hand was a hand mic and a lit cigarette. And he managed somehow to sing into the microphone and drag on the cigarette at the same time without getting the two inextricably and painfully mixed.
What is that group?
Louis Armstrong did that, actually, and got them mixed, hence Hot Lips.
He was...
Quite a well-known or famous Italian tenor of a few years ago who had a recording technique that the conductor used to play the aria that he was recording over and over again, and always had to be at the same speed for obvious reasons. And he would stand there smoking a cigarette and just put in a few notes each time. He would let it go. I mean, the first time he might sing, La donna è mobile. Have a go. Did a few, and then put in a bit later. And then, always the first time, he put the top C at the end in when he was fresh. And you could do that and smoke quite happily.
Let's move on to the next round. When people say to me they don't write songs like the old songs, my mind goes back to the really old songs, the music hall songs, the comedy songs. For instance, that lovely title of a Dan Leno song. Do you remember? Young Men Taken In and Done For. So back to the old days. I'm going to give you the title and ask you for the payoff line that follows it. John, we've talked about this before, so just remind us for your mark, why build a wall round a graveyard? Do you remember the payoff line? Why build a wall round a graveyard? Frank can help you, I think.
Nobody wants to get in.
Yes. Out. When nobody wants to get in is the answer.
Nobody can get out.
I'll give you the mark because it came from your side. So, Frank, it's your turn. Wilkie Bard had a song called She Cost Me 7 and Sixpence.
I should have bought a dog.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. She cost me 7 and sixpence. I wish I'd bought a dog. It's actually it's the real male chauvinist remark, isn't it? Sort of, as you say in your book, it's the sort of remark that gets you pippin pelted, isn't it, my ladies? Yeah. Ian, can you finish off this one? You can't keep a horse in a lighthouse.
You know. But a town hall's all right for a mayor.
A golden mark to you because it's better than the original, I think. The actual song reads, you can't keep a horse in a lighthouse, nay, nay, nay.
Much better.
Yes. Why don't we give him 1.5 marks out? Yes. Dennis, you're such a specialist at these old songs that in your case I'm going to read out most of the chorus and ask you for the last title line. You ready? I acted so tragic, the house rose like magic, the audience yelled, you're sublime. They made me a present of Mornington Crescent, they threw it a brick at a time. Lloyd George and Clemenceau, they both carried on so. The king of the Belgians rushed in with Alfonso. They pleaded, unheeded, and all of them cried in one breath, there's another war coming if you don't stop humming.
The night I appeared in Macbeth.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, it didn't have a tune. It was a Billy Merson used to sing it, and he used to sing it in the kind of character of an old actor, and he had a marvellous trick of rolling the R's of words that didn't have R's in them. So, and there's one bit in it where he used to say, they threw nuts and sultanas, fried eggs and bananas.
Just to stop the letters coming in, it's actually The Night I Appeared as Macbeth, written by William Hargreaves, 1932, so it's a bit later than the other songs, for some of them. Good. In this next round, the question is, what comes next? John Amos, what comes next after this?
I don't know. It's one of those sort of have a banana.
Yes. Yours is much better than his. It's actually the Rome narration from Tannhäuser. Let's hear a bit more of it, sung by Melchior. and so on. Yours was very like it, wasn't it? Yeah. No marks, all the same. Frank, here's a very rough and ready introduction. How do you think it goes on? Well, no.
It could go on to anything, couldn't it?
Yes, it could go on to anything.
Down on Jollity Farm.
Yes. Right. It's the sort of introduction I've noticed that in those days was played by the orchestra at that tempo, and the singer there almost always, you'll know this, Ian, had to come in at a slightly slower tempo. And that is in fact exactly what happens. This is how it goes. Listen.
I know a little road I was in, and they're not so very far from town.
It's Gracie Fields. A song called Our Avenue.
Once introduced by Bruce Forsyth many years ago at the Palladium as the inimitable Gracie Fields.
That's lovely, because nobody's more imitable, are they? That's super, yeah, love that. Gracie Fields. I can't give you the mark, though, can I? It may be that nobody's going to get in this round, I don't know, Mark, but I think perhaps Ian will. You will know yours, or, well, you can have a guess at it, I think. Ian, what follows this?
What actually follows is the verse, and I don't know the verse, but I know the chorus goes, I got a motto, always merry and bright.
Right, yes, you get the mark, don't you? Let's hear a little bit of it and see if you can identify the singer on this recording.
I've always been since quite a lad, cheery and gay when things were bad. That is the way I've always had. I look on the bright side.
Dennis could perhaps help, I don't know.
No.
We all know him.
Roy Hudd, isn't it?
No, it's not. Anybody in the audience know? No. No. John Pertwee. John Pertwee singing My Motto from the Arcadians.
Whether it's an apocryphal story or not, I don't know, but it's said, I think it was Mark Lester who sang it or Alfred Lester on the first night.
Yeah.
And he scored an enormous success with it, and it comes very late in the show. And apparently he was terribly nervous about this song because it was late in the evening, and he was absolutely shaking. And he sort of went, always married. And it was a sensation.
Created it, yes. Created the definitive performance which everybody's had to give ever since.
Yes.
Isn't it, really? Yes. Wasn't that the show in which the chap said, we went to see a dying friend, and he started reading the railway timetable, isn't that right?
That's
said,
right.
When I got to the 5:47 from Bury St Edmunds to Gravesend, he passed away.
That's the one.
Something like that, anyway.
The Arcadian.
Yes. Dennis, I'm sure you only need one chord to tell us what follows this.
I don't know.
You really don't, do you?
No, I don't think so. Can I hear it again?
You might be able to hear it again. Shall we set it up and play it
yeah.
again to you and see how you get on this time?
Oh dear, there is a loose...
It's like those old
big
clocks that just chime one.
No, I don't know it. I'm sorry.
I'll hear the rest of it.
It's been a hard
Oh, it's so infuriating.
Yes, isn't it? The Beatles it was. Hard Day's Night, so I can't give you the mark. Lytton Strachey wrote once about where one should be when reading certain authors. One should read Pope in a garden, he said, Herrick in an orchard, and Shelley in a boat at sea. It leads me to ask, how about music? Given the regrettable present-day portability of recorded music, where should one be when listening to certain composers or works or types of music? So, a thought, John, where would a piece of music and where one should be when listening to it? Or composer?
I don't know. I think Bach in church.
Well, yes. That's...
Tristan in bed.
Yes.
Beatles in lettuce.
do for a start off, I think. Frank, you had a moment to think, only a moment.
Yes. It's rather good, isn't it? I think on the Woolwich Ferry, with everybody standing on one side, list. We can have, in the pits at Silverstone, doing a Formula One racing, brums, brums. In a massage parlour, buttock. At the Chelsea Flower Show,
warmed up,
Delia's.
Ian, any thoughts?
Well, I can only sort of quote from a long ago personal experience of, as a young boy, having one of these portable portable gramophones.
HML.
Yes. And I remember taking this onto a very shingly beach in the north of Scotland, in Morayshire, and playing records of Fats Waller. And with the wind blowing, but this blue sea, and listening to believe it, beloved, because it's true, you're all that I want you to. And that to me was marvellous.
Idea.
On the other hand,
apropos that, Spike Hughes, may I tell you, once said that one should listen to Louis Armstrong's Hot Five on a wind-up gramophone in a punt. Only place where you use that. It's similar, isn't it?
A punt in the Moray Firth would be a little hazardous.
Dennis, music, where should one listen to what music?
I think bagpipes should only be heard out of doors, and preferably on a battlefield only.
Out of earshot,
yeah.
Might you say.
And I think it's best not to hear Abide With Me on a ship.
Yes.
Better than hearing it in the water.
Yes. I'm the only person around here who, knowing about this question, had a chance to line up a little bit of recording. There's a favourite composition of mine, which I think should always be listened to in the dark, and it's the Debussy Quartet. Listen, turn your lights off at home and just listen to a bar or two of this. Lovely. Lights up now. In this final round, the order of appearance is slightly changed so that Ian can take us out on a bit of good, rich singing instead of Dennis taking us out on a bit of good, rich singing. So, John, you first. This is a song that I find very touching. I think perhaps because of the fact that it's rather sentimental. Thomas Moore wrote the words, She is Far from the Land. Frank Lambert added his music in 1897. Ready?
She is far from the land where her young hero sleeps, and lovers around her are sighing, but coldly she turns from their gaze and weeps, for her heart in his grave is lying. Sings the wild songs of her dear native plains, every word that he loved when awaking, but little they think who delight in her strains, that the heart of the minstrel is brave.
What a loss to singing when John went to the bad.
Frank, your turn. I want to be happy. Song hardly recognisable when you say it like that. I want to be happy.
Well, it's a song that featured in music hall in Variety very much, wasn't it?
Yes,
It was,
play-ons for comics.
I want to be happy, but I can't be happy till I make you happy too. There's a very sad story, wasn't it? It was always sung by the last act on, because when the star came on, they used to have a last act who was usually a tap dancer or something, who did a little bit, and when the audience was visibly bored with him, the conductor immediately segued into the national anthem. And one of these tap dancers was going for his band call, and the band leader said, "What's your music? Can I have your dots?" And he said, "Well, it's not necessary, you see. All I do is I come on and I dance." And it goes, "I want to be happy, but I can't be happy till I make you happy, da, 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 da."
Sad story. Dennis, a good way to have a girl in every town is to be a Pullman Porter man, like Dan. Can you...
Dapper Dan was a Pullman Porter man on a train that ran through Dixie. Everyone knew Dapper Dan, knew him for a ladies' man. Never cared to settle down, had a girl in every town. Had a girl in every town. Or on the train the whole day long, you would hear him sing this cute song. If I lose my gal in Tennessee, that won't worry me, 'cause I got another honey lamb waiting for me down in Alabama, with somewhat of variance, I feel. Anyway, it goes on, and it takes in Georgia, and Caroline, and so on, and he ends up by saying that, and if he loses them all, he's still got the wife.
Yeah, that's right, yes. So, thank you.
I tell you what, that was actually sung by somebody we've never had on this programme, Melville Gideon.
Yes.
It was introduced by Melville Gideon in the Co-Optimist. I think we should have a Melville Gideon record, because he was very good.
Yeah.
That song reminds me of the fact that though many thousands of people have tried to imitate Bud Flanagan, only Dennis sings like Alan.
I still think there's plenty of room for a Denis Norden LP.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes. Wow. Anyway, thank you for Dapper Dan. A very American song, Dennis, as was obvious from the places. The publishers in Britain put out a special English version which began, "If I lose my girl in Aberdeen, I won't make a scene, because I've got another, as a rule, waiting for me down in Liverpool." It was not a success, that version. Ian, one of my happiest Drury Lane memories is of seeing you co-starring with Robert Morley in Harold Rome's show, Fanny. Welcome home. Can you oblige, please?
Welcome home, says the street as I hurry on my way. Welcome home, sings the gate like a song. Welcome home, says the door, glad to feel your hand once more. Now you're back where you belong. Welcome home, ticks the clock. Now it's time to get undressed. Welcome home, says the floor to your shoe. Then you turn out the light, and the darkness says good night. Welcome home to you. Welcome home to you.
Play off. And at the end of our home stretch, I see we have a tiny little victory for Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were John Amos, Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. The chairman was Steve Race. The questions were compiled by Steve Race, and the program was produced by Tony Schreier.